Hello and welcome back to the Ciaran and Josh experience. We have the return of my
long-awaited.
Oh, we have the long-awaited return.
There you go,
of
buddy.
my co-host Ciaran. You could probably tell last week I was really struggling without him helping me talk. He's been working with me for a while, and we're making progress. But everybody, please welcome back Ciaran. Give him a round of applause.
Oh, hello everyone. Hello,
Nice.
hello. Greetings. It's you know what? I won't say it's great to be back. I truthfully would much rather be in Mexico right now, not working.
What are you saying about Vancouver, Ciaran?
No, I love Vancouver, but just when I'm in Mexico, I'm not working, and I mean, you're great too. You're half decent.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, no, totally. But no, Mexico was dope. Had a lot of fun there. I learned a lot of Spanish actually.
Really?
Yeah, like
Hit us with some.
conversationally. Oh, mejor is better.
What did you just call me?
Mejor,
What? Excuse me?
better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
And I learned, what is it? Para mí is for me.
Oh, wow.
And also, if you see two L's together
Yeah.
in Spanish.
It's a yeah sound.
Yeah. How do you know that? Do you go
to?
to Mexico too?
No, I think they mentioned it on the H3 podcast, actually.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but then, like, they mentioned it in a case when there wasn't two L's, and it was quite a humiliating experience for Ethan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, because I know pollo is spelt, that's chicken.
Yeah.
Another thing I learned, Pollos.
Oh, wow.
So pollos, or yeah, I guess
Wow.
plural. If you throw an S on it, it's plural, so it's chickens.
Fascinating. Were you one of those, like, white guys who went and, like, was trying to order in Spanish when you were at restaurants and stuff and just butchering it?
I kind of had to order in Spanish because no one spoke English there.
Oh,
Yeah.
how'd you manage?
I actually managed okay.
So you weren't in, like, a super touristy area then, huh?
Well, Mexico City like itself isn't super touristy. Like,
yeah.
like I don't know even how to phrase it, but like in Mexico City, it's like pretty homogeneous Mexican people. So like I was getting stares when I was like, well, partly because I wasn't 5 feet tall, and like I would be walking around and all these Mexican people would just be like looking at me, and I was like, yes, I am Caucasian, and but it's.
Did you walk around at night? Because I had some very concerned parents who were
Really?
saying my own parents who were worried.
Seriously?
Yeah, they're like, Kieran's not walking around at night, right?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, I was walking around at
He's
night.
got to look out for banditos.
Banditos?
Yeah.
No, dude, like Mexico City, I mean, of course. Truthfully, I didn't walk around too much at night, and I didn't like take the subway, and I didn't go to really poor neighborhoods, but
Yeah.
it's not the horror story that people make it out to be.
You didn't run into any banditos?
No, I didn't run into any banditos. I asked around, and people were like,
Can you point me in the direction of a couple banditos?
they're like, okay, gringo, okay. But it's like, oh my goodness, I had a thought, and I had an expanse I was gonna verbalize, but I just lost it.
Yeah.
Was it walking around at night?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't go to any clubs or anything like that, but it's like, I did go to this one area that was apparently like pretty sketchy, and it looked like pretty rough. There's just a lot of like mariachi. It's called Garibaldi Square.
Yeah.
It's where all these mariachis are, and there's a whole bunch of bars, and I went into a bar, and I was just having some tequila with some of my cousin's friends, and I mean, when I was walking out, it was like pre-night, and I didn't feel unsafe. I mean, probably because I was like a 19-year-old male. I mean, I was like the only Caucasian person there, so I was like a little bit, I wouldn't say nervous, but I was aware. But I definitely wouldn't bring like someone under 16 to that place. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same thing. Like I wouldn't bring someone who's under 16 to downtown Vancouver.
Of course. Well,
at like I mean at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't bring them to
depends
Granville
on
Street.
the area, right?
Yeah, of course I wouldn't bring them to the
yeah.
heart of Granville Street at like 10 o'clock.
Well, I mean, Granville's not the worst thing, right? Like you wouldn't bring them to like East Hastings.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But speaking of tequila, I was just having a conversation with someone the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like tequila is always one of those things where it's like, it seems like a great idea, right? It's like, tequila, let's get some tequila shots. And then like immediately after you take the shot, you're kind of like, why did I do that? I don't really like this stuff. But then you're kind of like geared up for another. You reload. You re-achieve that state of mind that tequila is great, like within a few minutes, right? It's an odd one. It's an odd drink.
I see the train of thought you're following, but I think, well, the bar I went to in Mexico, they serve tequila in like drinks and stuff like that, like as a
so it's like a mix.
A mix, but they
Yeah.
also had shots.
Yeah.
And it was like a 2-liter. Oh my
2-liter shot.
No, dude. Sorry.
A
Look,
beer
I mean
bong
a
full
double.
of tequila.
A double. I mean.
Yeah.
So it's 2 ounces, I guess. Yeah, 2 ounces.
Yeah.
And it was in this tall, skinny glass. And what you do is you just like sipped it. You didn't take it as a shot.
Okay. Yeah.
But it also came with Clamato juice. And the people that I was with were trying to explain to me like what it was. I'm like, oh, it's Clamato juice. They're like, sí, pero, and they didn't speak very good English. And they're like trying to, tomato, crushed tomato. I'm like, oh, tomato juice. Like, sí. I'm like, and it's a little bit like spicy. They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I know what Clamato juice is. Yeah.
I love how everybody who is kind of struggling to speak English, for whatever reason, they all seem to still say yes in whatever their like native tongue is, like a French person attempting to try and like get something across, but you're
I can see that.
they're trying to like get you to like get the right word, and then like you suggest a word, and they're like oui, yeah, like nobody says
Vrai,
says like yes,
No, I definitely noticed that,
Yeah.
especially even in regular conversation with people. Everyone in Mexico was like, sí,
Yeah.
when you were agreeing with someone, or claro, which is okay.
Were you starting to pick up on the C's?
Sí?
Yeah, hitting them with a couple C's.
I'm like, sí.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was my cousin was fluent, so he would like speak to people, and
Yeah.
I knew what he was talking about, but I just didn't know the words.
Yeah.
Because I took French, so like some of the words were like very similar.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know the vocabulary to say anything.
Yeah.
So I knew what they were talking about, but I just couldn't say anything. So, I would just like, when my husband, oh my gosh,
What happened in Mexico?
No, I didn't marry anyone. I mean, my cousin. When he would say something, I
Come back, you can barely formulate a sentence. You
dude,
apparently have a husband now.
Dude, leave me be. I just had work. I was traveling all yesterday. I got home at like 12:30, man.
That's late.
Like
12:30.
Yes,
Oof.
1 a.m. It's 2 hours ahead.
You wild guy.
It's 2 hours
Okay.
ahead. It's 10:55 right now. It's actually 12:55 for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm struggling.
That's
I'm
shocking.
struggling.
Okay, yeah.
But like, whenever he said something that kind of pertained to both of us, he's like, "Oh, I don't know it in Spanish, but he'd say, "Oh, we're Canadian in Spanish," and then the Mexican person would, like look at me like, "Oh, sí." I'm like, "Sí, claro." I'm like, just like, yeah. That's all I
People
really
just
said.
they love it when you say you're Canadian, like anywhere.
Oh, they love everyone in Mexico was so friendly to me.
Except for I think in the States right now, because my grandma was just there, right?
Yeah.
Apparently she was in some like clothing store, and this guy comes up to her, and I guess she mentioned, I don't know how it came up, but the guy figured out that she was Canadian, and then he was like, "What's wrong with your guy?" Like about like Justin Trudeau, because
What's
of like
wrong
the whole.
with your guy?
That's
dude?
what she said back to him. She shot back.
What'd she say? What's
And
wrong
then
with
I
your
guess
guy?
she was like, "What's wrong with your guy?" Right? I know my grandma got
Was
a
it
little feisty
serious?
there.
Was it serious?
I
Or was she
think
like
it
kind of
was, like-
joking?
I
don't think I've
no,
ever
I think
heard
it was
your
a bit more
grandma
serious. And
retort in a really serious manner like that.
no, but then
Sauce it back with some zest.
but I guess some other employees came around, and they were like all apologizing for him. They're like, "Oh, he's terrible. No, we're really sorry." Yeah.
Was he?
He was an employee.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Customer
As an-
service
oh my
is so
God.
different in the States.
Jeez Louise, calm down, man. Just do your job.
I know.
Just do your job. Why does it matter?
You're not selling any clothes that way, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
come on.
Yeah, if you're not going to meet your quota, that's for sure. Yeah, so what do you want to... How did the last episode go? I actually haven't listened to it yet.
What?
Dude.
You had a whole plane flight. You could have just been sitting there listen to the latest episode of the Ciaran and Josh Experience?
Truthfully, I watched so many documentaries on Vietnam. It was incredible.
On Vietnam, really?
Yeah, Vietnam. Yeah, I like the Ken Burns Civil War series. It's pretty popular on PBS.
I've heard of it actually.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you I've seen any episodes, but I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
I haven't seen any episodes either, but I heard it's a very highly regarded documentary series. Ken Burns did one on the Vietnam War, and it is a very well put together documentary from the first 3 episodes that I've seen. Very
nice.
Yeah, very, very good. You said you went to an All Them Witches show?
Well, I was planning on going to one. Well, actually, before I hit that, how about I hit you with a little update on last week's episode? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I just kind of brushed over that. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good one. I gotta say, it was odd not having you here for like the whole co-hosting thing. You know,
Yeah.
I think it went over pretty well, but it was just it was strange. I mean, yeah, Justin hosted with me, but it's a different dynamic with Justin. I mean, it's not a bad one certainly, but it was kind of strange to get used to working with a different host. You know?
No, I feel you.
But
the energy, the aura, the chi of the room was different.
Yeah, it was a little different, but yeah, it was interesting, but you know, it felt weird hosting the Ciaran and Josh Experience without the Ciaran.
Did you even say it was the Ciaran and Josh Experience?
Oh yeah, we still call it the Ciaran and Josh Experience with guest host Justin McKenzie.
Guest host on a 1 episode contract.
Yeah. Well, you might have to have him back next week, because I'm whipping up to Sun Peaks, right?
Since when are you going to Sun Peaks?
It's for a little while. My family's been planning it. We're going up for a week in a little condo up there.
Dude, I love Sun Peaks.
Yeah, I'm really
just to
looking
hike
forward
around.
To it. Yeah, just to chill out there. Maybe ride a couple ATVs or something like that.
Seriously?
Apparently there's a hot tub at the place we're at. You know, just chill in the hot tub.
Goodness.
Read a couple books, watch a couple movies, spend some time in nature. You know, that whole deal.
Dude,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Sun Peaks. Honestly, I think Sun Peaks is better than Whistler in terms of skiing, and
really?
I know that. Well, I mean, I guess Whistler's a little bit more built up in the summer, but I would love to go to Sun Peaks in the summer because they have so much fun stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I've never been before. So,
wow.
Like
You're
at any time of year.
You are in for a treat.
Nice.
I have to say. All Them Witches show?
Yeah, so I was going down to Seattle to catch All Them Witches at this outdoor festival for free, too. And I was really excited for it. We were going down. We stopped to hit a Starbucks on the way down. We were probably like 30 minutes outside of Seattle. And,
so you've driven for like 3 hours?
No.
Like
we actually got there. We drove to Seattle within 2 hours both ways, actually.
Really?
It was we just the times that we ended up driving, the traffic wasn't bad at all, so it was pretty good. And so yeah, we were about half an hour outside of Seattle. We've been driving for maybe about 2 hours ish. And then when we got Wi-Fi at this Starbucks, my brother he checked Instagram and he just says All Them Witches playing. I said, what? They posted they had some like family emergency. They canceled a couple hours before their show the day of. We were so bummed out.
Ooh.
I know.
Oh man,
we were so bummed out.
You can feel the wind just coming out of your sails when you say that.
Yeah, it was a real shame. Like
you can feel. It's like you aged a couple years hearing that news, man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know. It sucked because I know that they have a new album that they haven't announced yet, but they're saying they've hinted at like it's coming out in September or whatever. Yeah, but they've been performing like unreleased songs live, so I was like really excited to like go catch those live.
They're dangling the carrot right in front of your nose.
But I did just recently. I finally found a video of them performing in Germany that was all professionally shot too. But I had to do a bit of digging to find it, and it had like 2 new songs that they were playing live on it. So I was like, I got to have a little taste of those. So I was pretty excited about it.
Nice.
They sound pretty good. One of them is really strangely different from anything else they've done, so it's going to be interesting to hear them experiment a little bit. And the other one is a bit more what I'm used to, but it was really vibing. Has some good vibes to it. You know, a little bit more mellow. But yeah, it was nice. So, but they're gonna tour again in the fall. They said they'd be back in Seattle in the fall, which I would assume they'll come to Vancouver too. And if they don't, I'm going to be really mad because they'll be playing somewhere 21 plus in Seattle. So, you know.
You got to get another fake ID then, man.
Yeah, but if you use a fake ID in the States and you get caught, you can get banned from the States for a few years.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I know.
Dude, that's so hardcore.
Yeah, there's a couple of, like, friends of friends I know about who've got caught using fake IDs in the States, and yeah, they've been like banned from the States for like 5 to 10 years at a time. You just like can't go.
10 years?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, they don't take kindly to foreigners coming in and breaking the law. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Actually, now that you mention it, that brings to light a story that I heard. I was like, this is back when I was rowing, so it was maybe grade 9.
Yeah.
And I was talking to some people, and it was at Delta D's run club here in Ladner, and I was just listening to these people talking, and they were in grade 12 at the time, I want to say. And this one guy, huge stoner, was going to a party at Point Roberts, and he had a whole bunch of marijuana cookies with him in his car. He got stopped, and he got searched, and now he's
Why would you take that to Point Roberts? I mean,
no, he's still in a U.S. Prison.
How long ago was this?
This was probably 5 years ago.
And he's still in a U.S. prison.
Dude, he was 18. He was 18, so he went in a men's prison. He was charged as an adult, and he went to prison. He's serving like a 10-year sentence.
Whoa.
I know. How hardcore is that?
That's unreal.
Dude, when I heard that, I actually, my mind exploded. Like, little grade 9 Ciaran's head just was, it imploded on itself. It was like a black hole just collapsing. Like, thinking about the ramifications of, actions.
That's so messed up. Like, that guy he's a kid, pretty much, right?
Yes.
Tossed into a U.S. men's prison.
I know. The terms chewed up and spit out does not even begin to describe how this guy is going through life.
You know, yeah, they say, like, prison's supposed to be about rehabilitation, but you're just gonna, like, this is going to mess him up. He's gonna need rehab after this, you know?
I know.
There's no, like, he'll probably never try to cross the border with drugs again, but this could very well spark some very messed up behavior that could come after this.
Let me say, I haven't heard anything about him since grade 9. That was the first and last time I heard of him. I'm sure that he's appealed and gone to,
I hope so.
Appeal courts or whatever. So I am just speculating that he's still there. However, when I was talking to these people, he was in a holding cell awaiting to be processed to a men's state prison.
That's insane.
I know, man. He's in friggin' Walla Walla.
Oh,
honestly.
Man.
Also, in Mexico, I met someone from the Tri-Cities.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
From Kennewick.
That's so weird.
I know.
Who is from Kennewick?
Dude, I went to this folk dance.
Yeah. Is that where the video came? The notorious video of you dancing with that Mexican girl?
I think I should post it on the Josh and Ciaran Experience Instagram.
Yeah, you should toss it up there. That's a nice one.
Sorry, segue. I found a wife in Mexico. She is coming up soon, just waiting on the paperwork. Technically, we haven't spoken since we met. I'm just waiting on...
Did you speak at all? Did she speak English?
Yes, she did. She spoke great English.
Really?
Yes, she did.
That's wife material.
Yeah, I know. Totally. And I gave her my number. Just waiting back. Told her to call. Haven't heard the call. However, long distance charges may apply, so I'm just waiting for her to get her, a phone card or whatever. And I got a contact in Mexico City, so I'm not worried.
Yeah.
If she, leaves or something like that, I'm sure she'll call and let me know. So
when people ask, like, how did you know she was the one, you can be like, man, I met her, she was just speaking my language.
Mm-hmm.
Hit him with that one.
I had really bad traveler's sickness, I guess. I don't know what it my stomach was just hating me,
oh really?
After the trip. Yeah,
that must have been fun to experience in Mexico.
It was just like my stomach hated me. And at this folklore dance, I watched about, I'd say, half of it, and I went to the bathroom, threw up, came back, sat down, felt like garbage. It came to the point where the dancers came out and danced with the audience.
Yeah.
She picked me out, I was up like a shot, dude. I don't even think of a split second. Like, she was like, "Would you like to dance?" I'm like, already up there. I was already in the aisle dancing before she even like finished her sentence. You know, and yes,
She healed you, huh?
she healed me for the brief 5 minutes that we danced.
She's a keeper.
When I sat back down, I felt immediately the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, she definitely.
She's got a healing touch.
Oh,
yeah.
she definitely does.
I gotta say though, in the video that I saw, there's an awkward amount of space between the two. Like, it's not really far away. It's not too close. But it's weird. It's a weird one. Made me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But if that's how your relationship works, then
exactly.
I'm not gonna judge you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing great, so I don't know where this is coming from. I mean, sounds like you're a little bit jealous, but it's okay. Anyways, so you're gonna hit me with a surprise.
Oh yeah, I got a
Josh
surprise
has
for
a
you.
surprise for me.
Yeah, I've been wanting to reveal this to you on the podcast for a while. So
All right.
Ciaran, feast your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know this
No, what? How
Yeah.
did you find out?
because I saw it on Sydney's
That's such a
Ella's
shame.
thing. Yeah.
I thought you didn't know yet.
What was it?
That's such a
Let's see it
bummer.
again.
It says excellent.
Yeah, it's a tattoo on your inner
It's
lip.
an inner
yeah.
lip tattoo. This is
Yeah.
excellent. Oh,
Let's see it again.
what a shame.
XLNT. Yeah.
Yeah. EXLNT.
EXLNT.
because You can't fit the full word.
Yeah. No, I know.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What a shame.
No, I can't believe I didn't send you a text about that
I know.
because
That's why I so thought that you didn't know about it.
Oh
So
no,
was like,
I knew. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a bummer.
Sorry to steal your thunder like that, but
Wow, that
I've-
just burst my bubble.
yeah, completely just popped it like a big bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you think of that
It's pretty dope, man.
You
I'm
like
not gonna
it?
lie.
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
good one.
hey, it's more tattoos than I have right now, so
though? Yeah. But
Uh,
you're grabbing one soon, hey?
yeah, I'm thinking of grabbing one. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'd like to get something on like my inner arm here. Might be like Gaelic script or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I just have to make sure. I have to make sure because everything I look up on the internet is like big bold letters. Make sure what you're getting tattooed actually makes sense in the language, right? So you don't want to get like,
Yeah.
you know,
Why
people who
Gaelic
get like,
letters?
oh, because my mom was born in
Oh
Ireland.
yeah. Okay.
And I don't want like people who get like massive like Japanese characters on their arm. It's like, oh, it means like strength from within, and it actually means like popcorn chicken free or something like that. Something dumb. So, and also in Mexico, there's I saw a few T-shirts.
Yeah.
And it was the exact same kind of thing, but it was English.
Yeah.
Like people at the gym, I'm sure they knew what it meant, but I just thought it was so weird. I saw this like guy's T-shirt, and it was just all black, and there was, I think it was Korean lettering like on top,
Yeah.
and then the bottom was just, this is a direct quote from the T-shirt, off. It was just on the T-shirt, and I was like looking at it, and I looked away because I didn't want the guy to think I was like staring at his chest or anything like that. But I thought, that is like, in what situation would you even consider wearing that shirt?
It's so like
oh,
I've seen shirts
going
like that,
out
and
for
it's like,
meeting a friend at a coffee shop. Oh,
Yeah.
throw on my off shirt.
yeah.
Oh, meeting the kids at the pool. Got to pick them up from their swimming lesson. Off shirt.
I've seen people wear shirts like that before, and I don't get it. It's just, I feel like it comes from such a need to be like edgy, and like it's like, oh man, look at that guy, he's so hard. Look at him.
Yeah, and then you're trying too hard.
Like
You're trying way too hard.
like what, like who are you, dude? Like, chill out.
I know exactly. Like, calm. I am all for expressing yourself, but when you're like putting, because that's abrasive. I don't care if people are like, oh, it doesn't affect other people. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
If you're telling people to fuck off, yeah, it affects other people. Like, walking, that puts, in legal standing, like legal terms, I guess, it's like you're affecting other people's like well-being. Like, if someone like walked up to you and like told you to fuck off, you'd be like, what the hell, man? Like, what?
Yeah.
It like would throw such a wrench in your day.
Yeah.
I know people are like, oh, I wouldn't care. Like, I don't care what the people like, say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you're gonna think about that, you're gonna think like, man, what the hell? That guy telling me to f off. What the hell?
The other one that gets me though too is the you know when you see like somebody wearing like a shirt or a hat or something that just says like whatever period. I just think that's so stupid.
It's a waste of fabric, waste of human hours in making that shirt, waste in human hours on the person that worked to buy that, to make money to buy that. Oh my god.
I mean the lifestyle that you're trying to project, this whole like whatever, I don't care about anything, you know, sort of lifestyle is kind of like, it is contradicted by the fact that you'd go out of your way to buy a shirt that says whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That you would seek that out
it's
to wear it.
Hypocritical.
Yeah.
Exactly hypocritical.
Yeah. That's what gets me. So fake, you know?
Oh,
Trying
fake.
so hard to man, give me a break.
Just cut me some slack, Jack. Josh, you saw Hereditary again.
I did.
We also have to... Do you want to make a new segment? I just call it like... Oh, I was going to say we could call it the rundown, but there's already that Snapchat thing that's called the rundown.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah. You know that thing? That's
I
where I
really-
learned about
I
the...
don't really use Snapchat that much anymore.
You know the Courtney Love murder
yeah,
plot?
yeah.
That's where I found out like people actually knew it other than like my mom. I was like, what? And then I looked it up and it was on that and it was legit. But anyways, we can just call it, I guess, the movie rundown. That's what we have written up on our script. We'll call it working title.
Review segment.
Yes, review segment. Beautiful. Josh, you saw Hereditary a second time.
I saw it, yeah. Man, that...
Well, we saw it a first time. Have we talked about it on
we
the
haven't
podcast?
even talked about it all
Okay,
since.
well, what is your, just a brief, like, one sentence, da-da-da.
Da-da-da, yeah. I loved it. Period.
And mine is, it affected me psychologically, negatively.
Yeah, you were like, after...
Comma, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Period. There we go.
After we came out of the theater, right?
I didn't speak until we came out of the theater.
Oh, yeah. We came out of the theater. We walked out, and there was probably a good 5 minutes when Ciaran's lips wouldn't even open. Like, not a sound came out of him. Like, it was just dead silence the whole time. Like, we'd kind of, like, ask him a question, and he'd just kind of, like, widen his eyes a little bit, and he'd, like, give us a little nod or something like that, you know? Like, he was speechless.
Or
from
you,
that
like,
film.
Tony, the guy we saw it with, Tony was like, oh, that was such a good movie.
Yeah.
And I would just feel like, I can't even do it on a guess. Okay, that was a failed attempt.
Just imagine, like, pursed
Yeah.
lips,
That-
like,
the
wide
pursed
eyes,
lips,
just,
wide
like,
eyes, small
slow nod.
Slow nod. Very slow. Subtle. Oh, man. After that, I watched that through... I had my mouth and my nose covered, and my eyes were glued to the screen.
Yeah.
Glued to the screen. I have never seen a film that filled me with more dread, anxiety, and
It's-
paranoia.
I don't think there's ever been a film that's been so stressful to watch that's ever been
Oh,
made.
yeah. I mean, I've seen films like 127 hours
Mhm.
where like 10 minutes of it is the most, like, for me personally, because I guess, well, you know 127 hours where the guy cuts off his own arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, like, self mutilation
Yeah.
is
Hard
like
to watch.
just
Yeah.
impossible to watch, and
So
even
you gotta-
worse to imagine.
You gotta have a rough time with the Saw series.
Oh
huh?
man, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, the Saw series is kind of cartoony, but that film was so realistic that I was just floored. And there were so many little, looking back on it, right? I mean, especially, I'm sure you saw it the second time, you know, like all these little, the way that it was structured was gorgeous.
It's such an artfully made film. It's just, it's so well put together. Like, it's, oh man, like, just the way everything looks, to the way the storyline flows, from, like, oh man, just everything. There's so many little subtle touches they've put. Like, it's
Even
just
the
like the
script,
best of
in
the
the
best
dialogue.
in all of it. Like,
Oh man, nothing but good things to say about that film. It's kind of, honestly, we watched it like probably 3 weeks ago.
yeah,
So I don't know if it's in theaters, but
It's left some theaters. I
Yeah.
couldn't go to the closest theater to us in
Where'd you go?
Richmond. I had to go out into Vancouver to catch the movie.
oh yeah.
Like sort of like downtown area to see it. But
Oh, what is it?
International Village.
Internet. Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's still in a theater that's
Oh my
near you,
lord!
I mean,
you need to
definitely
see it.
catch it.
You
Right?
need to see it.
It's
Oh man.
the thing is I think there's danger of overhype, not necessarily overhyping it, because I don't think you can exactly overhype
No,
this movie, because I think
not
it's
at
really
all.
well made, but maybe overhyping it in the wrong way, because it's not what you would. It's very different from like your kind of mainstream horror movie. It's very different from your mainstream movie, period, kind of, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll agree with that.
So it's not going to appeal to like every audience, but I think you have to go into it with the right mindset for it, right? You really got to analyze this movie while you watch it, and you got to
Yep.
appreciate all the little details.
And I will say, whatever trailer you've watched about the movie, it is not like it presents
You know
in
nothing.
the trailer.
You know
No,
nothing
you know
yet.
nothing about the movie.
Like I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to reveal
No, there's so many
anything,
good
but
twists and turns in that film. There is, I would say, like, the way that I put it on my all-time list, I put it, of course, for me, The Conjuring is at the top for first top best horror movie. Just from when I saw it the first time, it scared the pants off me. I'd say that's a much more mainstream movie.
Yeah.
This, I'd put it right beside The Conjuring in first place, like asterisk, because it filled me with such dread, paranoia, and anxiety.
Yeah. I have to say, after seeing it a second time, I might have to put it above The Conjuring for myself.
Really?
And I really, really like The Conjuring. I've seen it probably upwards of 20 times. Like,
20?
not gonna lie.
I'm going
'cause
to say 10.
I've seen it a lot, but I don't know. It's just like this. Hereditary is such a like artfully made movie with just like so much time put into it. You know, people are saying that, especially in the wake of Get Out getting nominations
I'll
at
say
the
Toni Collette is
Oscars,
going to get a nomination
that
for her
there'll
role.
be nominations.
Yeah, I can see
given
that.
at least for Toni Collette for this movie. I mean, I don't know what else is contending for it, and it might
I
not
can
get
see
a
art direction.
nomination, but
I can see cinematography.
I would love for it to get a Best Picture nomination because I think it was a very well made movie. I don't know if
Absolutely.
it'll be able to get that,
No,
but I think it.
No.
I think it should be eligible.
I don't think my one criticism looking back on it was the character of the son.
Yeah.
I thought he acted a bit too young in some scenes.
Really?
You know what I'm saying?
I think he.
It's kind of tough because we're beating around the bush
Too much, but
Yeah.
I think I get what you're getting at, but I think he acted young in the right scenes because it was more of like
in the dynamic between the father, the mother, and the son. The son was always going to the father for support against the mother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sort of, but
But I thought the way that he did that was like, I mean, I'm not going to give anything away, but a couple of scenes he was like, daddy, stop, like make her stop or something like that, like help,
Yeah.
He was a bit too.
I guess so, but I think what it was showing is that as he was under more stress, he almost like
Devolved?
Yeah, he kind of regressed into a
That's
more
the
like
right word.
childlike state, which has actually been used in a lot of different movies. Like, do you remember Gravity?
Yeah.
You remember when she finally makes it to the one kind of safe spot in it's like a Russian space station or something like that?
I thought it was
She
a
gets
Chinese
inside.
one.
Oh, it's something like that. I can't remember. It's been years since I've seen it, but there's this one
We
shot.
saw it together.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's this one shot, right, where she's in front of the window and you can kind of see the light of the sun coming through, and she takes off her
Spacesuit thing.
spacesuit and she just closes her eyes for a bit and she curls up a little bit and then she kind of resembles like a fetus in the womb, right?
Oh,
There's like lots
yeah.
of that when like characters undergo like crazy amounts of stress, how they kind of like regress into more of a childlike state. So I think it was done well. I think it was intentionally uncomfortable to see him like that though, as like an older teen. You know, I think
because he was in like grade 10, grade 11.
yeah, and there's more I want to say about it, but I would ruin parts of the movie, so I'm gonna end it there, and I think everybody
Yeah.
should see this. if you're
Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna
you
say
know.
that. I wouldn't say everyone should see it.
Well, yeah, not everyone. It'll mess some people up, I think,
Mhm.
too much. But if you think that you can take this one on, I would highly recommend watching it.
I'm going to make the comparison that it's Rosemary's Baby in a modern world meets like, oh God, some like, I'm going to say Rosemary's Baby and like a modern kind of family drama movie.
Yeah,
you
because
know what
it's
I'm
very
saying?
much a horror
Kind of
drama.
like, do you know, it's you know those movies like Blue Valentine or something like that with Ryan Gosling and maybe I'm getting too cinephile for you here.
I haven't seen Blue Valentine, but I think I get what you're talking about.
It's kind of like a family drama dynamic,
Yeah.
more mixed with Rosemary's Baby. Like there's more
Yeah.
characters in it, and but similar kind of.
It's like a
supernatural.
It's like a terrifying, dark family drama.
Yes, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Already, and now we have. This is the birth of our. Actually, I don't want to use birth for both. This is the debut. The debut. The debut of a new segment that we have. Book club.
Ah, yes.
This book club, so quaint. Josh and I are both fans of great literature, and we decided to throw that aspect of our lives onto the podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna be very nice.
Very, very, very quaint and
relaxing. You know, Ciaran, since it's the debut episode, why don't we share our favorite books, Ciaran?
Favorite books of
What's
all
your
time?
favorite book?
Oh, I cannot say. I have a top 3 that I've kind of narrowed it down to. I'm going to say Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible novel. My favorite detective book series, I'd say. And it is the best locked room mystery. I'd say it beats Sherlock Holmes.
Really?
Yeah, I would. And second is All the Light We Cannot See by Andrew Weir or something like that. Just a beautiful, beautiful story about World War II. But it's not about the war, really. It's about this blind girl and her eccentric uncle and jewel thief, well, like a jewel hunter, I guess, who happens to be a Nazi.
Oh.
So it's that kind of, dynamic. And also a young German soldier who is a radio operator.
Interesting.
And the chapters in it are like, some of them are 2 pages long, but it's just such a quaint little, like, it's one little bit of a chapter of their life. It's like one little vignette, I guess, about their lives. And then third, I'm going to say It by Stephen King. Stephen King's my favorite author, and
he is a great one.
I worship the ground that he walks on and the books that he writes. That is all.
Wow.
Yes. And you, Josh?
I'm gonna have to give it to A Christmas Carol by C.S. Lewis. Not by C.S. Lewis, by Charles Dickens. Sorry.
I was gonna say, sir, I believe that is incorrect. I believe that is incorrect.
Sorry, I was going to talk about this C.S. Lewis book I've been reading, but
yes.
But yes, the A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. It's a really well written book.
A really well book.
Really, it's
you
really
heard
well
it here
book.
first. You heard it here first, folks. A well book.
It's a well
Quote,
book.
Josh McKenna.
I don't know. There's something really nice about the writing from that period of time, where kind of the 19th century. I believe it's from the 19th century, where
you'd be correct, sir.
Where language was almost like an art form. Just the way people spoke. It was everything was like very thought out. Like their sentences were like, I don't know. Their sentences were just like nice to read and to listen to. You know how they spoke, and everything was like really kind of like kind of polite sounding and all that. Like it was like.
I think that Okay, continue. I'm not gonna continue. Okay, I'm not gonna interrupt. Keep going.
Well,
I don't want to cut off your train of thought, even though you already have.
I mean, like I think that was maybe like the peak of at least the English language was around that time. Just the way that people were very like conscious of the way they worded things, at least within a certain class.
Yeah.
Right?
I was gonna say. I'm sure that there's a lot of people in England at that time who were, pretty bad people, and the way they spoke, didn't. It reflected that. Pardon me. It reflected that they were jerks. And
well, no, I'm not saying that. Like,
banditos.
I mean, like it seems like even their aggressive arguing was like
respectful.
Not necessarily respectful, but more interesting to listen to. Like, you wouldn't find anyone like you see on like the YouTube comments nowadays who like, I don't even necessarily want to repeat half the stuff I read on there, but you know what I'm thinking. You know what I'm getting at, right? You wouldn't get that. You get someone who's saying you're a limp man with a
Do they throw that?
short fingers and you're a twit. They'll hit you with one of those. That's a classic one, actually.
Do they have that many grumbling noises in their comments? Or?
Yeah, that's how they speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was language.
Where have you been surfing on YouTube?
It's a what? No, that's how they spoke in the 19th century.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about YouTube comments.
No.
That I was like, wow, it's pretty articulate, I guess, for a YouTube comment. Normally they're a lot shorter and a lot more vulgar.
That's how they spoke in the 19th century. It's well.
You can
language.
confirm.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's well language.
Well language.
Yeah, it's well language.
Oh yeah, for a well book.
Yeah, for a well book.
Fair enough.
But just everything is written in that way. So just the writing is really nice. Like, it's just really like nice to read.
Nice.
Like, it's very formal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Charles Dickens kind of approaches it with an kind of informality as well. Like he's like a really close friend of yours or something like that. It's like he kind of.
I definitely get that in the narration that he has.
Yeah, and he'll kind of like
a lot of, and even the description of.
Yeah,
the characters and everything.
And he'll kind of like talk with the reader, sort of like he's just recounting a story or something like that. Like he'll be like, I don't know what was going on in so and so's head when they did this. Don't ask me, like, sort of thing.
Oh
like
yeah,
like that,
yeah. I feel what you're saying, man.
But yeah, everything is just really nicely worded, and it just really contributes to the overall vibe of the story. And it's such a classic Christmas story that you can really take from it what you want, really, no matter what. I don't know exactly how you feel about like Christmas or whatever, but it's just it's a very, very good story, and it's influenced so many others, and it's so unique. It's a wonderful story, and I read it every year at Christmas. I've done that since I was about like 6 or 7, so I've read it like 11 times now.
Yeah.
12 times.
I hate to interject. My mind was just kind of wandering when you were. It just went to a whole bunch of different, like, when you think about like, oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
And then that.
Yeah.
Oh, this. Did it actually hurt to get your tattoo?
Oh yeah, yeah. It hurt more than the other one that I had.
Yeah.
And you got to hold your lip open for them. And when they first started tattooing, my eyes watered up, and I was like, oh man, this is terrible. But I think it really kind of depends. It sounds weird, but it depends on like how your mouth is exactly, because I got it with another friend too who got one, and it wasn't as bad for her as it was for me. But I do have I have a vein kind of like running right across the inside there.
Say no
so
more.
It really
Say no more.
Killed. Yeah, it was it killed.
Oh my god. Oh god, man.
But then after it's
disgusting.
done, it's really short. Then it just kind of feels like maybe you like bit the inside of your mouth, and it's like not even that bad. Like, it's healing right away. So yeah, afterwards it wasn't bad. Getting it was like not the greatest. I gotta go get touch-ups this week, I think. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, back to book club.
Yeah.
Sorry. Did you have any more comments?
Yeah, I had a comment. I was talking to a friend actually, and it was a friend of a friend who got a tattoo, and it was unprofessionally done.
Ooh.
First time, I guess, the guy was doing it. I'm not sure the story exactly, but it was unprofessionally done.
Yeah.
He got the word rad on his leg, upper thigh, so it kind of hides it. My friend was asking this friend, why, like, dude, what are you going to do about that? Like, what are you going to, like, that's horrible. And then the guy just, like, looked up to him and smiled. He's like, when I become a dad, I'm going to get dad on the other thigh and get this one touched up. And it's going to be rad dad.
No.
Dude, that is so golden. That is iconic. That is the kind of tattoo that I want in my life, honestly, and on my body.
That's so
rad dad. Come on, Josh. That is too good. Oh my god. I sound like Syndrome from The Incredibles, man.
That's
like
so bad.
It's bigger.
Yeah.
It's better. It's too much for Mr. Incredible.
Yeah. I didn't go to my first choice of places to go get a tattoo though. I mean, my friend and I we went to this place called Adrenaline first.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then but we went late cuz we just we'd been talking about getting these for a while, and then one day when we were just going to hang out, we just spontaneously decided to go like an hour before. So we whipped down into Vancouver, and they were still open till like midnight, but then they were like, oh yeah, we only do piercings like after like 8 p.m. so we don't tattoo right now.
Weird rule.
I know. Really?
What?
Well, it's just because all their tattoo artists go home before 8 or something like that. Yeah, we thought it was like a weird rule at first too, but then they were like, oh, well, if you really want them, there's like another tattoo place across the street. They might do it there. And it just said, it was just this place that just said like tattoo outside. And they were just like blasting music to the point where like they're like handing me forms and they're like, sign these. And I'm like, what? Like, it's just like, it's so loud in there. So I signed them, and then
that is such a bad sign.
yeah, they're supposed to like also sign the papers and like check IDs and stuff and like add some extra, and then they just didn't. But like I don't know. Then we sat down.
As you do.
They took cash only.
It's not like it's permanent, or you can
No, it's not.
contract.
They fade after about 2 years. The interlock tattoos, yeah, because your mouth heals so fast. So
dang.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's.
So I'll replace it with someone else in 2 years. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think you're gonna get?
I don't know. I was debating between excellent and Livin. Little dashes in between.
I would get Livin.
You know.
I can't do an inner mouth tattoo because I'm just gonna. Oh man, I just can't do that.
Can't handle it.
No way I can handle that, man. No way. I would. You know what? I would probably get like the L through, and I would need to take a break, and then I would just not be able to get back and do it again.
I think the worst part is it's just cutting up your mouth, really, right? So then they do all the lettering, and then they like go back and like put the needle back in all the cuts that they just made. So it's like,
oh my god.
Yeah. But
oh my god.
Anyways, on that note, back to the relaxing book club.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh man, my skin's crawling.
But yeah, let's talk about what we're reading right now, Ciaran.
Oh man, you go.
Okay.
I can't do it.
So I just finished The Abolition of Man by C.S. Lewis, which is it's a really interesting read. It's actually technically 3 essays that he gave at I think Cambridge, and it's about it's him arguing for like objective meaning and like objective values and a lot of different things.
Can you elaborate?
Well, I wanted to look up a better description, so I just got this off Goodreads.com.
Ooh, Goodreads is the bomb.com.
Nice.
Great
so
place.
It's a book where C.S. Lewis sets out to persuade his audience of the importance and relevance of universal values such as courage and honor in contemporary society. And it's really interesting because when I started reading it, I thought that he was arguing the opposite of the point that he was exactly, like in the first chapter. And it's one of those books where you really, it takes you like quite a significant amount of time just to get through even like 10 pages, because you got to keep rereading sentences, you know, to really grasp what he's getting at. But it's really interesting because it starts off and it just seems like, okay, well, it sounds like you're being a little bit nitpicky with like these little things, but then he kind of explains them on like a grander scale, and you're like, that's really interesting. And when it comes full circle at the end of the book, because every chapter is like coming from a completely like different approach and is almost arguing something different. And then when it comes full circle at the end, it's like your mind's blown. Like it's wild. It's really interesting. I'd highly recommend reading it.
Do you have a hard copy?
I do, yeah.
I'll just take it home with me.
Yeah,
today,
I've just
then.
lent it to. I've just lent it to Scott Wilkinson recently.
Oh my!
You remember having Scott Wilkinson on the podcast, right? The scientist.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Scott's thoughts.
Yeah, so
I was very
actually
popular segment.
Yeah, I was really interested to hear Scott's thoughts on this book, so he took it off my hands.
Being a man of science.
Yeah, because this book does address some interesting things having to do with science as well. I don't want to get too deep into it, but yeah, it's some very interesting stuff. So I wanted to know, because obviously, like, Scott and I would be coming from different points of views reading this book, so I wanted to get his take on it as well. And he's read a bit of it, and he sent me a few texts on his thoughts about it, and he seems to be enjoying it so far. But I think we should have him back on the podcast sometime soon to give us an update on what his thoughts are on the book. Maybe even a little friendly debate if Scott and I have opposing views on it.
Yeah, I could be like the moderator, I guess, at that point.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited.
That'd be wonderful.
I just read we have such scholarly books to start our book club.
I've really started to get into kind of nonfiction recently. So
you have the C.S. Lewis, The Abolition of Man. I just recently read The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka.
Oh, really?
And have you heard of it?
Yes, I have heard of it.
Yeah, Franz Kafka, at the time it was written, he lived in Austria-Hungary, and then later it's like the Czech Republic, but it's it's a short story, I guess, about a man, Gregor Samsa, who wakes up one day, and he is a giant bug.
Oh.
And he lives, it's his, like,
That's pretty interesting.
The book's first sentence is like, Gregor Samsa awoke with a start one day to realize that he was a giant insect, like something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
And I read a lot about Franz Kafka before I read the book, and it like a lot of what it's completely allegorical, of course, like, it's not to be meant to be taken at face value. Yeah. And all this stuff about who he was as a person and the life that he lived, like, I think is really mirrored in a lot of the aspects of the book. Like, his relationship with his father was so strained because his father wanted him to be this, was extremely hard on him, and wanted him to go to school to become a lawyer or a businessman or something like that, like him. And Franz Kafka wanted to be a writer, and his father like completely shut him down and said, you can't be a writer, you can't go to school to write, or all that. And so Franz Kafka lived this like horribly depressing life where he just like worked as a clerk for this insurance company.
Oh yeah. And
he just did it to like appease his father and pay bills, and all of his time was spent writing, like all of his spare time. And even like in the book, like when Gregor, he is this giant bug and he gets out of his room, he's like running around, like he can't speak.
Yeah.
Because he's a friggin' giant bug, man. And it's all in his head. And he's trying to tell his father, like, it's okay. Like, I'm all right or whatever. He's trying to talk to his father. His father like tries to like step on him, like crush him. And so it's all about like, I thought that a lot of the like Gregor's family in the book mirrored a lot of what I'd read about Franz Kafka. Like,
that's pretty interesting.
The way that the characters of his mom and the sister, Gregor, his mom and his sister react, and the dynamic of the parents, and how his family feels about this new change. I guess in like the family dynamic, and how Gregor feels about it. Incredibly depressing book. I do suggest that you do your research about Franz Kafka before, at least at some point after or before reading the book, because it really makes it a lot more profound, I think.
Oh yeah.
But when I was reading it, I would like read a passage and it'd be so simple. Like Gregor's sister now felt ambivalent towards Gregor's plight, and I was like, wow, like thinking about it, and like, but then I thought, oh my goodness, like this corresponds to the relationship between, his mother and his, like him, and all this stuff, and da da da, and it just
And da da
and da da da, and it snowballed. Like every little phrase kind of built on the next. I thought it was very interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, and then right now I'm just I'm reading another one of C.S. Lewis's books. Because I've gotten a bit of a C.S. Lewis binge. With
good luck.
But I was
need
really
some therapy or.
No, I'm good. But I was really interested to read this one book called A Grief Observed, which is it was written shortly after C.S. Lewis's wife had died, and she died at like 50 or something like that. She was pretty young, and so he kind of writes in real time about like the grieving process that he's going through, and just tries to observe it and tries to understand it, because like this guy, he's like a professor at Oxford, right? Like he's a real intellectual guy.
This guy's he's got something going on upstairs.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So he's like, he writes about it and he tries to understand it and break it down, and describe his grief. And I just thought that would be a really interesting book to read. And then I found out that it has some sort of loose ties to his other book that was one of his really successful ones called The Problem of Pain. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll read that one first, The Problem of Pain, because that one came out before A Grief Observed, because it's said to be more like he's writing about the problem of pain. At least usually he's writing about the problem of pain within the belief that there is a God, and that this God is good. And he's writing about like, well, then how do we explain pain and suffering? Like how do we justify that? And then he also tries to understand all these different forms of pain, and he goes into a whole spiel about it, But he openly acknowledges at the beginning of The Problem of Pain that he's had a fairly good life. He hasn't really experienced any really deep sorrow like he's going to try to describe. And then it's years later, when his wife dies, and he writes A Grief Observed, when he really does experience this sort of thing. So it's like kind of revisiting the problem of pain, but from a much more interesting perspective. So kind of tough reads, but really interesting stuff so far. I read the first 2 chapters, and the guy's just got really, really interesting ideas that are just like things that I never would have thought of. So it's really cool to read his stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was very succinctly put.
Thank you.
On to Song of the Week.
Let's hit it.
Josh. Hit me up with that Song of the Week.
Sure.
What is your Song of the Week?
So my Song of the Week is going to be Before the Beginning by Fleetwood Mac.
I hate it how I did that twice. God, that was bad.
But it's...
I apologize. People who are listening.
Let's cut it. Let's restart the whole podcast.
Bad.
But it's Before the Beginning by Fleetwood Mac. A little while ago, I got this little All Them Witches EP, which they released for free a few months ago, and they had covered this Fleetwood Mac song that I didn't recognize. It was actually Before the Beginning, this song I'm talking about, and they'd covered this one, and I said, I've never heard of that Fleetwood Mac song before, so I looked it up, and it's from this early Fleetwood Mac album. It was their 3rd album. It was called Then Play On. And at this point in the band, it was still led by a guy named Peter Green. And like Stevie Nicks wasn't even in the band yet. Like a bunch of the kind of key players in Fleetwood Mac that would have been around during like the Rumors era and all that were not even a part of the band. The band was totally different. It had a very different sound. I think it only had 2 members at the time that Then Play On came out that were still around when Rumors came out. So
how many members are in Fleetwood Mac?
I
don't know
there's
a lot
like
about the
5.
band.
No, but I'm just talking about like how the members changed over the time.
Yeah,
but
how many?
I think there's like around 5 or something like that. I think it's 5 or 4. It's 4 or 5. But so I guess earlier on when they were recording in the 60s, these first 3 albums, they were entirely different. It was more like kind of like blues rock with a little bit of psychedelic sort of stuff going on there. And I really liked it. I liked this album, and it's pretty obscure. It's not even on iTunes. It's not been reissued with a lot of their catalog, and I found it when I was in Seattle the other day because I just went to a couple record stores during the day since All Them Witches wasn't playing.
Might as well.
Yeah, but I found this album there, and I was pretty excited to find it because it's really hard to find. And I've been listening to it, and it's a really chill album. Like, it's really nice to listen to. I'd highly recommend it. Then Play On, Fleetwood Mac. And Before the Beginning, it's just this really kind of chilled out song, and it's got this great bass line. So some really nice sort of a little more minimalist guitar work, but it just really works with the vibe. And yeah, it's hard to explain. It takes you on a bit of a trip. It's real nice. But the story of Peter Green, so he was the lead singer and guitarist at the time, really interesting, I guess, after they started to get a little bit more recognition after this album came out. They were touring in Germany, and he started to hang out with a couple of the hippies over there, and he tried acid something like 2 or 3 times and went like full schizophrenic for decades.
I think you told me about this. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, like he only like recently, like within the past like 10 or 20 years, started to kind of regain sanity.
Jeez.
So he had to leave the band. That's why he was gone, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, that's wild.
Jeez. Don't do acid, listeners. God.
Yeah.
That actually reminds. Did I tell you about Len Bias, the
No.
basketball player?
No.
My well, this is kind of like a little side story, but my grade 9 socials teacher, we were talking about Wolf of Wall Street and how that came out, and how I definitely agree that it glorifies drugs and, you know, all that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's good or bad. Like, it definitely does. And my teacher was saying, you know what? Like, you kids growing up, like, you know, looking at watching these movies and thinking that you can do lines of coke and all these drugs.
Maybe you did mention this.
Yeah?
But yeah.
Okay, I'll do it for the listeners anyways. All these coke and lines of drugs and all this stuff. He was from Southern Washington State, so he's pretty much redneck, I guess. And he was saying, like, you know, I gotta show you guys something that scared the hell out of me when I was a kid, and I never tried drugs. And then the next class, he put on this 30 for 30. You know 30 for 30?
Yeah.
Yeah, he put on this 30 for 30 about Len Bias, who apparently he was drafted 1st or 2nd overall.
Yeah.
He was drafted ahead of Michael Jordan.
Oh, wow.
In the NBA draft by the Celtics, and he was completely straight kid, you know, played basketball pretty much. That's all he did.
He wasn't gay?
Sorry?
He wasn't gay?
Oh, sorry, I meant like straight, like didn't do any drugs.
Why
are you doing that? That was such a dumb move. Oh my god. What do you
You can't even form a sentence, man, after getting back from Mexico. I don't know what you did down there. You probably tried acid, huh?
Yeah, I probably dropped I probably licked a toad's butt or something like that. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you lick the frog's butt and like just makes your pupils turn into saucer plates or something. Yeah. No, I did that. Yeah, the pyramid that I went to, I was just hanging around and just, hey, picked one up.
Toads, just,
Licked it. Nice. But he played high school basketball, he played high school basketball. I think he played 1 year of college. I'm not sure. And then he basically went to his friend's dorm, tried cocaine for literally the first time. Like, people have talked about it, his family's talked about it, his friends have all like set up timelines for his actions, and they say that he only did it once. And I believe it. Did cocaine once, had a heart attack, died. This guy had, like,
wow.
Imagine, 2nd overall in the NBA draft. This guy's going to play with, like, legends.
That's
You know Larry Bird? Like, you've heard of him?
Yeah.
Like, basketball player. He was going to play with that guy. That guy could have been, like, a Michael Jordan. And he had a heart attack and died because he tried cocaine once.
Yeah, because I've heard about that stuff a lot where, like, you know, you can just have, like, the wrong reaction to cocaine or something.
Oh, yeah.
And you just die right away, right? And it's like, that's a nice voice crack.
Well, you're just hitting puberty or something?
Yeah, just hitting puberty.
Just got your hair under your arms or something like that, buddy?
Yeah, but
that's a pretty small Adam's apple there, bud.
But you know, that's what freaks me out, you know, when people like that I know are just casually like, yeah, I tried cocaine.
Yes.
Like, what?
Yes. Cocaine
what?
is not something you just drop casually.
Yeah, they're like, Oh, come on, man. Like, I mean, a lot of
You haven't tried
they're
it?
like,
No, I haven't
yeah,
tried it.
I know, yeah. They're like, come on. It's just like,
It's not
like,
even that
just,
bad.
It's like a little step up from weed.
What are you
It's like,
saying?
I think it's a more than a little step up from weed. Okay.
Like, jeez Louise.
Yeah.
When people just casually like, yeah, I mean, like, so the other day, like, I was just, in the bathroom doing, like, a line or something. I thought, what? Like, oh, yeah, I was, like, just doing a line. I'm like,
Come on, dude.
what are you talking about?
It's just a line. It
You
wasn't
know
like
what's the-
5.
What's so awkward is when it's, like, someone you kind of, like, have just met.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be, like, the reaction.
You don't want to be
what
like,
the
uncool
hell
or
are
something
you
like that.
doing? Like,
I know.
you're
yeah.
just like, yeah, okay, cool. So, yeah. You
Yeah.
just play it off, but in your head, you're like,
You're like the
oh
alarm.
my god, what is this
the
person
alarm
doing? Oh
sound,
my god,
you
what
know?
is this person doing?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's like that. Remember that episode of SpongeBob where like inside his head, like all the little SpongeBobs are just like pulling
Yes.
out the filing cabinets and
Yeah.
like burning everything. And,
Yeah.
like that's what's happening, right?
Pretty much.
That's like I remember I met this girl at a party at UBC once, and she was just talking about when she was like on acid during this Mac DeMarco concert, and like Mac DeMarco had a breakdown on stage, and she was like freaking out, and she's like, yeah. I was just like freaking out, and Mark DeMarco was having a breakdown on stage, and I took like 5 sheets of acid, and I was just tripping out, and I didn't know. She was like, it was wild, it was crazy, it was so much fun. But right, and then she'll be like, oh yeah, sometimes I just like go and walk down the beach, like on acid for like 12 hours. She's like, just sometimes when I have spare time, and I'm like, yeah.
What? Okay.
I'm like, haha.
I'm also a little bit.
That's fun.
I don't know how. I don't have 12 hours of spare time.
Yeah. Especially as a university student,
12
right?
hours? That's half a day.
Yeah, well, that's how long an acid trip lasts, huh? I mean, of course, you have, like, it builds up, and then you have to come down, but, like, it approximately
Is
12
in your,
hours
like
you're
in your
tripping.
system and everything, yeah,
Yeah.
before you're feeling hunky-dory again.
Yeah.
Gee, my God, man.
Anyways, why don't you hit us with your song of the week? We're just over an
Song
hour
of the
here.
week? Okay. Song of the week. My mom was playing Apple what is it called?
Apple Music?
Apple Playlist or something? What's
they
the
have
radio?
The curated playlist.
What's the radio
They have a couple different ones,
aspect?
right? Like, they have the Beats one.
Beats
radio,
or something like that? Beats Apple
but they have different
radio?
radio stations on there.
Yeah,
on the,
I don't know
on Apple
how.
Music, so.
My mom was playing the radio on Apple Music. That's all I know. This song came on called "Men I Trust." Oh, sorry, called "Show Me How"
Not Men I Trust?
by Men I Trust.
Oh, okay.
And it's this.
That sounds so questionable, naming your band Men I Trust.
I think it's just one person. I think it's just one woman.
Oh, okay. Well, it would have been a bit weird if it was like a group of guys.
Yeah.
But okay, maybe I guess it's a statement or something.
One woman. I don't know. She's from Quebec. That's pretty much all I know about her. I have listened to a couple of her songs.
Canadian homegirl.
Yeah, and I kind of was like, okay, so like it's okay. And you know those songs you're like, yeah, and you download it,
Yeah.
and then you kind of forget about it, and then a couple weeks later you like listen to it, and you're like,
yeah,
ooh,
come back to it. Yeah.
this is a fuego track, hombre. Well, some little Spanish for you
picked
there.
that up in Mexico.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know
Wow.
I did.
Wow.
And I was listening to that when I was in Mexico because I didn't have any data most of the time, and I was just listening to it, and it's so relaxing, and it's all synths. Then I think it's maybe a couple instruments, like a bass, maybe.
Yeah.
And this woman singing, and it is so relaxing and so flowy. That's all I can really describe was listening to it. And I was just like lying down and relaxing. Her voice is very soothing,
Yeah.
I will say.
Well, yeah, that's like it kind of sounds like the song I was talking about too. I mean, I don't know is this going for the same sort of vibe? Like, I mean, it's very flowy and relaxing, but there's a real kind of soul to it. That's at least what it was like for the Fleetwood Mac song I found.
I wouldn't say there's soul with her.
Not like a soul, like, like, but just there's a real.
She's
kinda,
not black, Josh.
No,
she's
yeah, well, yeah,
Caucasian.
neither is the guy from
Come
Fleetwood
on.
Mac, but but like a real
Stop.
sort of passion in the voice, at least, coming
Yeah,
out
I
in
would
its
definitely
own
say
way.
I wouldn't say it's passionate because it's very reserved and minimalist.
Yeah.
But I definitely say it's like deft touches of expressiveness. I
Yeah.
guess with minimalism, like
Yeah.
holding back enough that you show some but keep something reserved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's the same sort of vibe.
Yeah,
what I'm talking
that kind of
here.
thing.
Yeah.
But I just really vibe with it. So
Nice.
that's like her. She has no description on Apple Music. She has no like
She's not huge yet.
She's not. I don't even think she has like. I've looked at a couple of her albums, and you
Yeah.
know those like independent artists that have like all of their friends on all their albums. Like she's had a couple, I think, maybe
Yeah.
2 or 3, and it was all like the features were the same people.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like her like kind of group of artist friends, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how you would find stuff like that, because I think that back in the day you didn't have a lot of that.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of finding this obscure artist unless you knew them, I
Yeah.
guess, you know.
Yeah.
That's all I can really, because the internet is just so
Yeah, I
easy
remember
to.
seeing something online, like somebody said like, really we're in the best period of time for listening to music that we've known, because you can listen to
completely
the
agree.
classics if you want, but there's literally something for everyone on there. Like you have so much access to all these like weird little smaller
Niches,
independent releases, right? So you can really find anything that you like, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you want to sign off here? Is hour and 10?
I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, Joshua, it's been an absolute pleasure seeing you again.
Yes, you as well.
Don't know why you didn't return my calls, and I tried to reach out you a few times, and I was hit with your answering machine, and I don't know why you would just throw me right up.
Your value to me is like this podcast, and it ends there. I'm sorry, dude, but like let's keep it professional.
Yeah, man.
And at this point, I don't know if Ciaran can go on any longer, so we're gonna leave it at that one.
Okay.
Have an excellent week.
Yeah.
We will catch you
guys.
next week. We'll be back with a guest again.
We'll actually have someone.
Yeah, we'll have an excellent guest. We don't know who yet,
That
but we
cuts
know
deep.
it'll be a good one.
Deep. All right.
All right, Ciaran's gonna go have a cry, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks for listening.